From the moment we take our first breath, we begin our personal journey. Discovering who we are meant to be starts immediately and ends when we take our last breath. My story is unique, but not different. We evolve, we learn. We grow physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as we experience life. I was a tomboy and sensed early on that I was not like everyone else. I had no interest in typical girl things and often felt like a square peg in a round hole. I saw reactions and listened. I picked up quickly that in order to avoid criticism, I had to adjust and edit myself. With every edit, the voice telling me there was something wrong with me got a little louder. I let rules, expectations, and opinions make me forget that it was okay to be myself. This all changed when I came out as a lesbian just shy of my 40th birthday. As I stepped into my new life, I learned this was not the end of the process, but the beginning of rediscovering my true self. Suddenly, I felt free to be any way I chose. On top of my list of things to do was figuring out what I thought being gay looked like. I was still me, but knew the changes on the horizon required some serious thought. The slow changes happening on the outside were a prologue to what was happening inside of me. Every shift helped build my confidence as new chapters were written, yet the shadows of old messages were hard to shake. Fear and hesitation interrupted my progress many times. What I wanted and what I thought the world expected were two different things. I flew under the radar and let outside opinions influence me, again. It was easy not to care about what anyone thought while I was in the company of my wife, kids, and our small inner circle. I felt good except when I was aware of how those outside my inner circle were looking at me. The more I tried to make other people comfortable with my changing appearance, the less I listened to my own inner voice. My decision to keep my true self hidden was considerate and kind to everyone except me. I gave up my peace and was miserable. I did ease my misery by enjoying moments when I could express my authentic self, usually in front of my wife's camera within the safe confines of our house. The fear I had about looking like a guy whispered to me each time I got dressed or had to buy clothes. I struggled to bridge the gap between how I really wanted to look and what I believed I was supposed to look like. I worried that my wife would have to answer questions explaining why she wanted to be with a woman who looks like a man. I was afraid of the stereotypes and assumptions about being seen as the guy in our relationship. My fear came from the expectations about how women were supposed to look in order to be considered strong, beautiful, sexy, and feminine. I was afraid people would think if I dressed more androgynously and had short hair, it meant I wanted to be a man. The last thing I needed was people wondering whether or not I had any more surprises up my sleeve. My aha moment came when I realized my fear had nothing to do with how I looked to others, but rather people finding out I liked looking more masculine. I let go of my fear and everything changed. I cut my hair, and as it fell to the ground, I could finally breathe. It was done. I was me, unedited and free. My authenticity was more important than any of the stupid questions I might have to answer, or the opinions of anyone else. There's no one way to be. There are plenty of voices in society telling us what is acceptable, but what fits one does not fit all. Gender expression, identity, and presentation are not strictly defined by biology or even sexual orientation. Admitting that I fall somewhere in the middle of the spectrum is just one more growing pain. My story is a reminder that listening to your inner voice and being true to who you are is all that matters, regardless of where you land on the spectrum. My transformation may seem drastic or like a departure from who people knew me to be. Truthfully, it isn't. I may be covered in clothes from the men's department and have a new tattoo, but I'm comfortable in my own skin. I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. Ignore all messages to the contrary. Believe that you are worthy just as you are. trust that your value is not dependent upon what anyone else thinks. The courage to accept yourself exactly as you are is the answer to hate, fear, and intolerance. Choosing love, peace, and kindness is the best way we can support each other and build a more tolerant world. Sharing my experience is the only way I can encourage others to be who they are. My life is a work in progress and proof that peace is possible when you choose to love yourself fearlessly.